All right, now we have another past paper of the strategic business leader, which is December 2018. And let's see what we have in it. So first of all, we have the introduction of this question, which is very important. Okay, Highlight is a listed hotel chain located in a country of the D-land. D-land has a developed economy which has experienced strong growth in the last 15 years. D-land also has a highly developed tourism industry. So that means the economic condition is good over there. Highlights competitive advantage is built on its highly competitive pricing strategy. So you see D-land is a country where this Highlight company is, remember, and D-land has a developed economy and D-land has the tourism industry. So D-land has a tourism industry, so a lot of tourism is over there, and this Highlight is the hotel chain. So obviously when the people are coming for the tourism, they're going to stay in the hotels. So this is, their national competitive advantage to be over there. So Highlights competitive advantage, which is there, like the national competitive advantage over there. Now you can see what is coming up next. Highlight competitive advantage is built on its highly competitive pricing strategy, and this has been a significant factor in its current position as the leading hotel brand in the D-land. Highlight normally attracts those travelers seeking no frills accommodation at the reasonable price of, as such, is referred to as budget hotel chain. Okay, so they are the economical hotels. Every Highlight hotel room provides an ensuite bathroom, TV, and free Wi-Fi internet access, and each hotel offers a complimentary breakfast service. So like these are the values and services they are giving to their customers. However, Highlight hotels do not provide additional service such as bars, restaurants, or leisure facilities because they are economic hotels. Obviously, they are not luxury ones. Every Highlight hotel has a similar layout and design, and most are located at the airports. That means accessible near to the hotel city center locations and close to the major transport routes, which is again their highly plus point, that they are near to the airports, transportation sector, transportation routes, and near the city locations where everything is accessible. Highlight was founded about 40 years ago, beginning with the two hotels in the capital city of the D-land. Since then, it has grown significantly, operating 510 hotels, approximately 46,000 rooms by the end of the 2007-08 financial year. And their year end is 30th June. So that means they have grown up. So they started with just two hotels and now they are 510 hotels. So that means it's a significant growth they have experienced within the 40 years. It is now the largest hotel chain in D-land since it was founded. All of the Highlights growth has been achieved organically within the D-land. That means there are no acquisitions yet. So they have opened up their branches and they've grown in that way. They have not yet acquired any businesses. Organically means that they are expanding within their brand, and they have not done anything like acquisitions and mergers and things like that. So with investment being gradually made in new Highlight branded hotels each year throughout D-land. So expansion strategy is the organic growth. Although it is currently the leading hotel brand in the D-land, Highlight face fierce competition from several home-based and international hotel chain. So we have already discussed it. That competition is, not every time bad thing. Competition means that okay, there's industry over there. There are people coming up. Like for example, if any other hotel is advertising, people will still coming up to my hotel asking for my details. So that simply shows that okay, there is industry over there. The people are coming, customers, potential buyers are there. In the last 10 years, Highlight has made significant investment in web-based technology, so something related to IT, which has resulted in over 75% room bookings financial year being completed through website. Okay, that means the major chunk is coming from the web portal now. Highlight operates with the low number to the staff in each hotel, but the staff in these hotels is highly trained to provide excellent customer service. Okay, that means they have their this strength to have the trained staff with skills and expertise over there. Highlight values the staff highly and is strong committed to staff development and retention. So their attitude towards the staff is very good. That is why they do not see high staff turnover. People are being loyal to them. Highlight pays above the D-land national minimum wage in order to encourage staff commitment and the loyalty. You are a senior business analyst working within the business analysis department of the Highlight. You report to the chief business analyst who reports directly to the finance director on a wide range of business and strategic issues. The following exhibit should be used to undertake the task asked you by the chief business analyst. Chief business Okay, chief executive statement is in the exhibit number 1. In the exhibit number 2, you have the D-Land Hotel Industry report. In the exhibit number 3, you have the fact sheet relating to highlights proposed acquisition target. And then we have the exhibit number 4, D-Land Daily News article. In the exhibit number 5, we have the extract of the senior management team briefing. In the exhibit number 6, we have the board meeting minutes. All right, now we have the requirements, which is again very important to understand, because if we are able to understand the requirement, then we know what to write. And obviously, accordingly, we will be extracting the data from the case study. So the board of the Highlight is currently looking to develop the Highlight business model in Zealandia, a developing country with the good growth potential. Okay, so they are going to, they're planning to move in a country, business model in Valendia. However, as operating in a different country would be a new strategic direction, the finance director has stated that before any such strategy is considered, it is important to understand the key factors, its home country of D-Land, which have driven H-Light's success. So they need to understand, okay, why they are being successful within the D-Land. What are the factors? Now, I hope that you are getting the point which we are heading towards. The chief business analyst has asked you to prepare briefing notes for the finance director for consideration at the next board meeting, which discusses the key factors which have enabled H-Light to be successful in the home country of the D-Land. What are those factors? What are those factors? Now, the factor conditions. What are those factors based on which this Highlight company is successful in the D-Land? And we have already studied that thing in the introduction, that okay, they are operating in a country where there is good economic condition, and they are the hoteling industry, and there is a lot of tourism over there. So yes, we need to apply that model, which is factor conditions, demand conditions, firm strategy, structure, and rivalry, and the demand conditions and relating and supporting industries. So what you are going to do is you are going to apply that model, that Porter's model over here. So that means the national competitive advantage. National competitive advantage. So remember those points, the factor conditions, the demand conditions, the related and supporting industries, the firm strategy, structure, and rivalry, and we have then the other things in it. So remember that you are going to apply that model over here for 16 marks. So it is quite excellent work from you if you have identified that this is the Porter Diamonds model. Okay, then we have the B requirement. The board of the highlight has identified an existing chain of the hotels called Comfy Stay, located in the Vlandia, which it considering acquiring. And we know now, we have already done so many times that when you are evaluating the decisions of the acquisition, you apply a certain model over there. So just try to bring that thing in your mind, which model we usually apply when we are evaluating the acquisitions. So the chief business analyst has passed you a fact sheet which he prepared containing data relating to the proposed acquisition. So the requirement is use the fact sheet referred to the above and any other relevant information. Prepare a report for the finance director which evaluates the proposal to acquire the Comfy Stay hotel chain. Now, when we were doing the evaluations, the assessments, we did study a model in which we were evaluating the acquisitions. So do you remember that? So yes, we have done it many times doing the individual questions, that whenever you have this acquisition analysis, we used to apply that SFA model, SFA framework: suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. So what we were doing, that we were looking at the external factors and the internal factors and the financial things, which is financial viability, risk, and returns, all those things. And then assessing the strategic position of the company itself, the strategic position of the acquirer, whether there's in a position, best position to acquire it. So yes, using the fact sheet referred to the above, another relevant information, prepare a report for the finance director, which evaluates the proposal acquired. So you are going to apply the SFA model. So, you see, if you are able to, so you guessed it right, both in A and B. So, like if you are able to identify the, to understand the requirement, what you're supposed to write over here. Like in the A requirement, it clearly says that you are having a benefit of operating in that country. So we know it's a national competitive advantage. Straight away, you got in your mind that, okay, this is Porter Diamonds model. And all those things just came to your mind, okay, factor condition, demand condition, and we know we are getting a data of it. And then when we have the potential acquisition thing, so we have the SFA model to be applied. And we need to do all those things, external environment analysis. We need to do that, the internal analysis. We need to see the financial viability, risk and returns, and all those things. Okay, then we have the requirement number 2. Following a subsequent decision by the highlight board, the proposed acquisition of the Comfy Stay hotel chain has recently been announced to the deal and stock market. And generally, the market has reacted positively to the announcement. However, there have been some negative press reports in the DLAND Daily News about the proposed acquisition, criticizing Highlight. The chief executive of the Highlight is very concerned about these reports and has asked the business analysis team to consider Highlight's response. Okay, so they have just announced that they're going to acquire the Comfy Stay within the other country. What was the name of that thing? Vlandia. So they're having a criticism. So why they're having a criticism? Prepare a draft press release responding to the criticism. Now, whenever we have such things like responding to the criticism, now this is something, very generic, very generic. You need to see the answer within the case study and comment on it. Okay, we don't know what is in the case study right now unless and until we read it. So these sort of things, have the generic answers. In the requirement number A, we know, okay, we have the Porter Diamond model. So we start writing, okay, the national competitive advantage is being analyzed to the model known as the Porter Diamond model. Okay, the Porter Diamond model has the following factors in it. So you start writing from the factor condition, and then you define it, factor conditions as being defined as, and then you just relate that with the case study. Similarly, you do the demand condition and then relate it with the case study. So in the requirement number 1A, so you have something to write from your knowledge-based element as well, and then relating it with the case study. In the requirement number B, again, you know that you are going to analyze the acquisition thing. You're going to assess the acquisition proposal. So we know we are going to use the SFA model. Now, within the SFA, we know what is acceptability all about, what is suitability all about. So what we can do is extract the relevant information from the case study and put that under the relevant heading. But the requirements like this, prepare a draft press release responding to the criticisms. Now, this is not something related to any model particularly. You can comment on this thing generally. So it's a generic, thing. Assessing the social and environmental impact of the highlights proposed investment in the Villandia with the view of with the view to reassuring stakeholders intention to maintain its high principles and standards in acquiring the comfy stay hotel chain. So this is something about something about the ethics, something about the social responsibilities, like the CSR, the corporate social responsibility, something regarding the ethical stances. So what you're going to do, you choose the information from the case study and then comment on it, whether it is something synced with the norms and ethical stances of the company. So this is something, a generic requirement. Okay, coming towards the part B, although highlights shareholders have generally responded favorably to the proposed acquisition of the company, Highlight Board is considering how it should effectively communicate with all its key stakeholders to ensure that they understand the strategic decisions and direction of the business. The finance director has recently asked the board to use the integrated reporting. Now, we know that the integrated reporting thing is again a very, very important topic, a recent development basically in the last couple of years, in which we have talked about the value creation, that it's not only communicating the financial aspect of the company to the shareholders and the stakeholders, it's about telling them the broader aspect of the company that tells them that, okay, how the value will be created over the longer period, the sustainable value, the sustainable growth. So we know in the integrated reporting, we have 6 types of capital that is usually reported with an integrated report. That's 6 types of the capital. We know that this is, financial capital, which reports regarding the financing available to the company. It talks about the manufactured capital, which are the assets at disposal. And then we have the intellectual capital, which talks about the knowledge, skills, knowledge, skills, innovations, research and development. Then we talk about the human capital, which talks about the trained staff, expertise. Then we talk about the social and relationship capital, which talks about the interaction with the communities, interaction with the societies, relationship with the society, relationship with the governments. And then we have the natural capital, the use of the natural resources, and the less reliance on the non-renewable natural resources, less carbon footprint, things like that. So integrated reporting. Now again, in this type of requirement, first of all, we should have the knowledge-based element of the integrated reporting so that we can at least start by writing the first paragraph straight away, which is the knowledge-based element, and what is actually integrated reporting, and benefits of the integrated reporting, the objective of the integrated reporting, and how it talks about the other forms of capital which creates the value creation. So you see 12 marks, you can easily get 8 to 10 marks if you have a prior knowledge of that integrated reporting stuff, writing it straight away and then linking with it with the case study. All right, now we have the requirement number 3, question number 3 within an integrated case study. At the most recent board meetings of the Highlight, a discussion occurred on the potential threat of disruptive technologies in the hotel industries. And we know disruptive technology is all about the innovation, the languages, programming languages, which we are having nowadays that integrates with the ERPs and the softwares like the Python, things like that. So following this meeting, the chief executive has requested further information for the boards on this issue required. The chief business analyst has asked you to write a report for the next board meeting, which discusses the potential challenges to highlight posed by the development of disruptive technologies which are emerging in the hotel industry and highlight the potential application of disruptive technologies which may be considered by the highlights. So, like if they are not switching towards the disruptive technologies, how they can affect them, and if they're adopting the disruptive technologies, what are the potential benefits and the application of those. So it's all about the technology, commenting on the data analytics that when you are using these disruptive technologies, you can do the data analysis, the big data. Then you have the ERPs, then you have the applications. Like for example, nowadays, if you see regarding the hotel industry, there are websites, there are applications which gives you the complete information of all the hotels you are having in that area. They compare it, they have the comparisons thing that okay, these are the 5 hotels available in that location. Then they do a comparison, okay, the cost is there, the features they're comparing, okay, they're having this features like the take cross thing. They do all the analysis for you. They tell you the bookings availability and the payments thing. So a lot is there nowadays. So hopefully you have seen those things uh, if you are into it. But if you have not seen, probably you have heard about it, that nowadays, the things are getting advanced day by day. So we need to tell them that if you're not switching, what is going to be the impact? And if they're following it, what is going to be the application and the benefits? So something, related to the technology, which you can comment, uh, even if you are not having the knowledge-based thing of it. So you just need to comment on it. Okay, what are the benefits of adopting the technology and what are the repercussions if they do not go for it? And then B requirement, the finance director. Okay, at the board meeting, the finance director presented information on 3 risks. Okay, now we have the risk thing. We did that thing in the previous past paper as well. 3 risks in the current information system environment, and the board has requested the further analysis of these risks. So risk management is all about identifying, assessing, and managing risk. The director has asked you to prepare 3 presentation slides, and I told you in the last paper as well that when you have this thing, that means you are going to make the slides in which you are going to have the bullets, and then underneath that you will be having the notes for the explanation. So just make that thing in the form of this square or rectangle, whatever you call it. So just put that the bullets in it, and underneath you will be explaining that in the form of the notes. So prepare slides and accompanying notes for the next board meeting, assessing the potential outcomes of each of the information system risk identified by the finance director, and recommend actions for each risk should take in order to control these risks. So first of all, what you have to do is assessing the potential outcome of each of the information system risk the finance director identified. So already the finance director has identified, you need to tell the impacts of those risks, and then you need to tell how to overcome, how to manage those risks. So this is all about, again, having the knowledge which you have from your previous exams, from your general knowledge, from your industry experience, whatsoever, from the book knowledge. So you just need to see what are the threats the finance director has identified and what are the repercussions of it and how those risks can be managed. For example, related to the data, let's assume there is a cyber security attack risk. And now we'll tell what are the repercussions of the cyber attack and how that cyber attack risk can be managed. This is the case. Okay. Okay, question number 3. And yes, we are done with the requirements. So then you have the question paper itself where you can find the knowledge which you are supposed to write in your these requirements. So question number 1, again 39 marks. Question number 2, 28 marks. Question number 3, 33 marks, including the professional marks, which is for the flow, presentation, and all those things. So first of all, you need to understand the requirements in the exam question, and then you will be reading the case study straight away, where you can understand what to write in the particular requirements.